Hello, welcome back. So in the last module we have covered all the theoretical concepts and we have covered the diagram also for RRAS and NAT connectivity, which you can see on your screen. Now let's move on to the actual practical steps. Okay, so the first step for this particular RRAS and NAT connectivity module, we have to power off all the virtual machines through following order. First, Windows 11CL nested VM, which is hosted by ESX host 02, then vCenter server, again nested VM, which is hosted by ESX host 01, then ESX host 02 itself, and then last is ESX host 01 itself. So to save the time, I have already powered off all the machines. So you can see over here in my VMware workstation all the three first layer VMs and the two second layer VMs, nested VMs, are already been powered off. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. And the last VM also I have already powered off, that is Windows 2022 DC. So that is also been powered off over here. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. So next step is we need to add our VMnet 0, which is a bridged network adapter between VMware workstation and our physical machine. So through your edit virtual network editor option, we can add that VMnet 0 bridge adapter. Okay, so I think I have already added that also, just to save the time. So you can go to the edit virtual network editor and you can see VMnet is already added. Now if you want to add it as a fresh, you can just click on change settings and here add network, and you can choose the VM0. Since it is already been added, it is not giving, but you can choose any number and you can choose the option as bridged over here, and it is bridged to which network NIC, that is my physical network NIC. So same way, once it is bridged to my physical network NIC, whatever connectivity I am having with my physical network, it will be translated to my this virtual network VMnet 0. So I am having an internet connectivity as I explained you in the previous module with the diagram. This Realtek Gaming physical NIC is having internet connectivity. So once it is bridged to my VMnet 0, my VMnet 0 will also have an internet connectivity as same as that. Okay, so it is already been added, right? So let's move on to the next step. So let's move on to the next step. So the next step is we need to start all our virtual machines in following order. First we need to start Windows 2022 DC, then ESX host 01, and then ESX host 02, and then finally our vCenter server nested VM. So I'm starting those VMs one by one, but it may take 15 to 20 minutes to start all the VMs. So I'm pausing this video as of now. Once all the VMs are online, I will come back to you with the next practical steps. Okay, welcome back. So I have started all my VMs, Windows 2022 DC, ES6001, 02 also, and I have taken a RDP of my DC system also. And one more last confirmation, I will log in to my vCenter server VM also, so that just to check whether this vCenter server is also fully online and operational or not. Okay, so as you can see, it is successfully logged into my vCenter server, and both of my ESX hosts are also showing online over here. Okay, so everything is online. Let's move on to the next step. So next step is through VMware workstation, we need to create a new virtual machine with following configuration. The VM name will be Win 2022 proxy. OS will be our Windows 2022 server. RAM will be 10 GB and hard disk will be 100 GB, And network, we will first add VMnet1, that is internal network, and we will give a local IP 10.1.1.151, that is a static IP. Okay, so let's go back to our VMware workstation console, and we will now create a new virtual machine. So I will go to file, new virtual machine, over here choose custom. Next, the level will be newer one. Next, then I will install the operating system later, this is fine. Next, then I will choose Microsoft Windows and Windows Server 2022. Okay, because we will be installing Windows Server 2022 OS. Here we need to give the appropriate virtual machine name, and here I will choose my location to save the virtual machine. So under VMware I will create one new folder called Win 2022 proxy. Okay, next, this is fine by default. Here just increasing number of cores. Here I will give 10 GB, which should be sufficient as a RAM. Then I will not choose any network connection as of now, we will add it later on. Next, this is fine. SAS, this is also fine, this type. Then create a new virtual disk. Here I will give 100 GB. Store virtual disk as a single file, otherwise if you are not selecting this file it will split into multiple files, so it's better to have a single file. Next, and one more option I need to explain, allocate all this space now will be a static hard disk, it will immediately take up this 100 GB, so we don't require that, we will be requiring a dynamic disk, so don't click on this option. Next, then it will give the name, then select your appropriate location to store this. So Win 2022 proxy folder, save. Next, and finish. Okay, so we have created this particular virtual machine. Now we need to install our operating system into this. So the next step will be install Windows 2022 Server OS on Win 2022 proxy VM as usual. So first I will go to the settings. In the CD DVD drive I will choose my ISO file, and I will choose my Windows 2022 server. Okay, this is the latest one updated with the October patching level. So I will choose this one and I will say OK. Now one more setting we need to add over here. There is no network adapter added, so I will add the network adapter also. Network adapter, finish. And by default it will take NAT, but we don't require that. We need to choose VMnet1 host only, because this is the same adapter which has been added to our domain controller also, Win 2022 DC also, and we want to join this machine to domain controller, existing domain controller. So VMnet1 host only, this is fine. I will say OK. Okay, just to make you confirm that VMnet1 is already added in our DC also, so I will go to the DC properties also, and you can see VMnet1 it is already added. Okay, so this is fine. Now I will start this virtual machine. It will immediately take up my CD as a first boot device. It will start booting up. And now it will ask to install this particular operating system. Okay, so I will say next over here. I will install this particular operating system in next 10 to 15 minutes. It may take some time. Then I will come back to you once this OS installation finishes. I will come back to you with the next practical steps. Alright, welcome back again. So we have just finished the OS installation of our Windows 2022 proxy new virtual machine. It is just asking for the last step to give the local administrator password, which I am just giving now. And it should finish now. Let me just log in with the local admin account. Okay, so our Windows 2022 proxy VM is ready. Now let's move on to the next step. So next step is we need to join this Windows 2022 proxy system to our ESX lab.local domain. So I'm coming here, maximizing this, and first disabling this startup option for launching our server manager, and then I will go to the advanced system properties. So here, advanced system settings, adjust for best performance. This is just a normal practice. I will go to the computer name, and before joining this there is one more normal step we need to take it. As first we need to disable our Windows firewall, turn off. Okay, and second step, of course, we need to give the IP to this machine, as I have already shown you in the previous slide which we have to give. So I will go to the properties. First disable your IP6, IP4, and give this IP 10.1.1.151, and then default gateway .1.1.100. DNS will be also same. This 10.1.1.100 is our DC IP, if you remember. Okay, so I will say okay twice, just say yes, and now we can join our machine to our domain. Okay, so I will go to change. I will change the computer name also and join the domain also. Now it is asking us to account credentials for joining our domain. So I am just entering our ESX admin account credentials. And now we need to restart this machine once because it has just joined our domain controller. Okay. Now by the time it is restarting, let's move on to our next step. So next step is we need to log into our Windows 2022 proxy server through ESX admin domain credentials. Okay. So coming back here, and log in with ESX admin, not with administrator. Just make sure that it is showing the correct domain name over here. Okay, so we have logged in using our ESX admin account also. So let's move on to the next step. So next step is we need to add our ESX admin account in local administrator group of Windows 2022 proxy server so that we can have a exclusive admin access. Okay, so I'll come back here. I will maximize this and then I will go to tools, computer management. You can go from start also, but it's okay. Local users and groups, administrator, add. Here just type ESX admin, check name, okay. You can see over here, just say apply. ESX admin is added into local admin group. Okay, close this also. Now let's move on to the next step. Now next step is we need to shut down our Win 2022 proxy VM for a while, and we need to add a second network adapter, VMNet 0. Why? Because we want to give the internet connectivity to this particular Windows 2022 proxy VM. Okay, so I will shut down this machine. And now I will go to the settings, and here I will add one more network adapter. I will say finish. I will choose custom and VMNet 0. Remember, VMNet 0 is a bridge adapter which we have bridged to our physical network adapter of our Windows 2022 base system. So this is connected to internet. So I will say VMNet 0. I will say OK. Okay. So you can see the second network adapter has been added, and now I will start my virtual machine. So next step is start Windows 2022 proxy VM, which we have already done. So by the time it is starting, it has already started, by the way. Let's move on to the next step. What I will do is I will just enable the RDP of this machine so that we don't have to again and again adjust this full screen and all. So what I will do is I will just first log in. Now, couple of settings. Disable server manager startup, and go to the system properties. Adjust for the best performance. This is a normal practice. And now here remote, allow remote connections, okay, and remove this NLM dependency. I will say okay over here, okay, and now I will sign out from here. And now let's see from our physical machine whether we are able to take the RDP. Now we have taken the RDP of our Windows 2022 proxy server. Okay, now let's move on to the next step. So next step is we need to provide the same IP configuration for our VM's second NIC statically, which has been given to this machine through our ISP router. Okay, so ISP router may have given DHCP IP of 192.168.1.34. It may be anything, but this is just a screenshot. Same IP I have to give statically, subnet mask, and then default gateway will be our ISP router gateway, and the DNS servers will be our ISP DNS server. For security purpose, I have just hidden those DNS server IPs. So why I'm giving this particular static IP configuration, because we will be using this Win 2022 proxy as a internet gateway. So the IP configuration should be static, although it is not absolutely mandatory, but it is recommended to have a static IP for your internet proxy server. Okay, so I'm just giving this configuration, and this configuration will be IP will be 192.168.1.34. that is ISP router DHCP provided IP. I'm again telling you this 34 can be anything because it's a DHCP IP, so it can be anything. We can check the existing IP using ipconfig/all option. So let's say at the time of this PPT creation it was taking 1.34, so I have just given the same. Then your subnet mask will be 255.255.255.0, and your default gateway will be your router IP, and the DNS will be your ISP DNS. Okay, so I'm coming back here and I'm changing this particular configuration, IP configuration, and once this is done statically, I have just given this IP configuration. Once this is done, I will come back to you with the next steps. Alright, so we have given the static IP configuration to our Windows 2022 DC system. So let's move on to the next step. So we have restarted also this Windows 2022 proxy VM just to make sure that our static IP configuration is reflected properly. So next is we need to verify now after the static configuration also whether our second NIC will be having internet access or not. So verify that the Windows 2022 proxy is having internet connectivity. So I will come back to my proxy server and I will go to the network properties, change adapter option, and you can see over here there are two network adapters, but it is not showing whether it is having internet connectivity or not. Two ways to verify. First of all, just click on this, so it will just show internet access. You can see over here network to internet access. Another way, just change this particular view to details view, and then here it is showing internet access. You can see second network adapter Ethernet 1 internet access. Okay, so this way also you can verify. So our Windows 2022 proxy system is having internet access. So let's move on to the next step. So next step is we need to install some roles and features for our Windows 2022 proxy server. So the role which we need to install is remote access server. Okay, so I'll come back to my proxy server, maximize this, close everything, open your server manager, and click on add roles and features. Next, here make sure that it is showing the correct FQDN and correct IPs, one internal IP, one external IP. This is fine. and here I need to select the role called remote access server. Okay, so the name is remote access over here. Okay, I will say next over here. Coming back to our PPT, on features window, click next. On the remote access window, click next. On roles and services window, select routing and add features next. And there is one note also, once you select this routing features, add features, system will automatically select your direct access and VPN RAS feature also. So I will select routing and you can see add features, and you can see the direct access VPN is already been selected. It is by default connected to routing feature. Okay, and I will say next. So on web server we don't have to change anything. Click next. On roles and services window we don't have to check anything, so click next. And finally, on confirmation window, click install. I will say install over here. So it will take 2 to 3 minutes to install it. So I'm just pausing this video as of now. Once this is completed, I will come back to you with the next step. Alright, so our remote access servers role installation has been completed. It is showing as configuration required, installation succeeded. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. So we have already done this particular step. We have monitored the feature installation, and then once feature installation gets completed, note down the configuration required message and click close. So we will do this configuration in a later steps. First, let me close this, and now as usual for any Windows server or any Windows system, we need to restart it once, because we have done some major changes to our system. We have installed our remote access server role. So restart your Windows 2022 proxy system once. It is always advisable for any Windows machine to restart once any major changes has been done. Whether it is asking for a restart or not, that is irrelevant. That is my experience of handling those Windows machines for over 20 years, 25 years I should say. So anyways, so coming back to our proxy, now it has been restarted. Let me just again relog in. Now let's move on to the next step. So next step is, now we are actually configuring our routing and remote access server. So through Windows 2022 proxy server manager, open routing and remote access menu. So I will first open server manager, and under tools I will select routing and remote access. Okay. You can see the red mark over here. That means this server has not been configured yet. Okay, so we are configuring it for our remote access, routing and remote access and NAT connectivity. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. So next step is in the RRAS console, right click on your Windows 2022 proxy server and select configure and enable routing and remote access. So I will just right click on it, configure and enable routing and remote access. Okay. Next step. So in the welcome screen, click next. So the next configuration screen, click custom configuration and click next. So here you can see different options are there. You can configure this server as a remote access dial-up or VPN. Then you can configure it as a network address translation. Then you can configure it as a VPN server. You can configure it as a secure connection gateway. But we need to select the last option, custom configuration, and I will say next, so that we can choose whatever custom options are there according to our requirement. And next. So next option is again continue with the custom configuration screen, select NAT. Okay, so you can see over here there are various options available: VPN access, dial-up access, then demand dial connections, NAT and LAN routing. So as of now we need to select NAT and I will say next. So next is we just need to click finish to complete the configuration wizard. I'll say finish over here. Now there is a general warning that the firewall needs to be enabled or to open certain ports. Now this warning means if your Windows firewall is still on, you need to open certain ports for it. But for our Windows 2022 proxy, we have already disabled our firewall. So we will just click OK on this and we will ignore this particular warning. So I will start the service directly. Coming back here, this warning, it has not shown over here. It has directly shown the start service option, but when I was preparing this particular PPT, it was showing that warning. But anyways, so click on start service, which we have already done. So once you started, you can see over here now it is showing green. Okay, let's move on to the next step. So next step is on main routing and remote access window. Verify that the server is configured, server configuration is completed. So our server configuration is completed. It is showing routing and remote access is configured on this server. Let's move on to the next step. Now coming to the main step, we need to configure our NAT interface. Okay, so on main routing and remote access window, under the server, select IP4, right click NAT and new interface. So under the IP4, I'm just expanding IP4. There is a NAT option. Right click and say new interface. Now under new interface for network address translation, NAT window, select Ethernet 1 internet connectivity and OK. Okay, first we need to select the Ethernet which is connected to our internet. Okay, if you are confused that okay which Ethernet is connected to internet, you can verify it through our change adapter options and these things. So you can see over here Ethernet 1 that is connected to your internet. Okay, so I will select Ethernet 1 over here. I will say okay. So next is we need to select the below two options. The first option is public interface connected to internet, and then below that enable NAT on this interface. So I will select both the options, public interface connected to internet, enable NAT on this interface. Okay, and now I will say apply. Okay. Now we have created a NAT for our external NIC. Next is we need to create a NAT routing for our internal network also. So I will again go to the NAT option and new interface. So under the IP4 NAT option, I will say right click, new interface. So in the NAT window, we need to now select internal LAN connectivity option and click OK. Since we have already selected Ethernet 1, NAT has already been created. It is not showing in this list. I will select internal and I will say OK. So the next option, choose private interface connected to private network and click OK, which is already been selected. Other options are disabled because this is a internal NAT. Okay, I will say OK. So you can see over here there are two NAT mappings we have created. One is for internet connectivity and one is for our internal connectivity, so that they can talk to each other using your NAT protocol. So next is, now we need to start our Windows 11CL nested VM through VCSA console. So what I'm doing is I'm coming back to my DC system and opening my VCSA console. And now through my VCSA console under ESX402, I will start my Windows 11 CL VM. Okay, by the time it is starting, let's move on to our next step. So next step is again, once this Windows 11 CL comes online, we need to give the IP configuration over here. So log into Windows 11 CL nested VM through ESX admin domain account. So first we will log in, come back to this machine, and you can see the Windows 11 CL is started. So what I will do is I will come back to my main machine and I will take the RDP of my Windows 11 CL. By the time it is login, we will move on to our next step. So next step is through Windows 11 CL, enter or set the default gateway as 10.1.1.151. That is our Windows 2022 proxy server IP. Okay, and of course the DNS will be our ISP DNS IPs. Okay, so I'm coming back to my Windows 11 CL machine, and I will open the network configuration over here. Network and sharing center. I'll click on change adapter setting, and this is my existing network connection. Now take a note, I have not installed any additional network adapter over here or any additional IP configuration. I just need to change my existing IP configuration. So I will go to my TCP IP, and here by default it is taking my default gateway as 10.100. So I will change it to my proxy so that I will get the internet connectivity. So that's fine. And here the DNS server I'm changing to my ISP DNS servers. Okay, so for security purpose I cannot show you these DNS IPs, so I'm just changing it. After changing it, our Windows 11 CL should have a internet connectivity. So I'm just pausing this video, entering these DNS ISPs IPs, and then coming back to you. Alright, so I have changed my network configuration also, and you can see the internet connectivity is there. Okay, so I'm quickly installing one browser like Mozilla Firefox, and then we will go for the final step to check whether our internet is working or not. So I'm just pausing this video till the time I'm just installing my browser. Alright, so I have just installed my Firefox web browser on my Windows 11 CL. As you can see over here, it is already showing that network 2 is having internet access, but we will just finally confirm. Okay, so our next step is about to confirm that only. So finally browse any internet public site through Windows 11 CL VM. So I'm just opening my browser. You can see it is already started browsing with my network feeds and all. So I will just open Google and then finally any site. So this is VMware's official Broadcom site. And you can see it has already started. Okay, so internet is working on our Windows 11 CL nested VM through our RRAS and NAT connectivity option. Okay, so this comes to the end of this particular module. So thank you all for your time for watching this particular video. This is your host signing off from Swaroop IT Solutions. If you like this particular video, please share it with your friends and colleagues, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay. Thanks once again for watching this particular video. Have a good day.